At this time, we'd like to call the City of Tuscaloosa Zoning Board of Adjustments meeting to order. Today is January the 27th, 2025. We're going to begin with introductions. I'm Michelle Coley, Chair of the Board. Starting with Mr. Eatman, please introduce yourself.
Joseph Eatman, Sr.
Tim Gillum.
Paul Rollins, Jr.
Mary Catherine Holt.
Austin Merriweather.
Okay, and at this time, we'll also like to introduce the city staff that's here helping us. We'll start with Mr. Zach Pons, Director of Planning. Mr. Jonathan Bowen, Neighborhood Resources Coordinator. And from the City Office of the City Attorney, Ms. Kim King, Associate City Attorney. Kevin Jones is helping in the back with our video production. Now, the Board of Adjustments does not have the authority to enact zoning laws or special exceptions, nor does the board have authority to rule on claims of equal protection of the law or the fairness or unfairness of any zoning ordinance. Now, by virtue of state law and city ordinances, the purpose of the ZBA is as follows. Hear appeals from decisions of the zoning officer of the city, grant special exceptions to the zoning code in accordance with the terms as established by the city council therein, grant variances from the terms of the zoning code when, owing to the special conditions, a literal enforcement of the code would result in unnecessary hardship. No one factor determines what is an unnecessary hardship, but all relevant factors, when taken together, must indicate that the plight of the property in question is unique, in that it cannot be put reasonably to a conforming use because of limitations imposed upon it by reason of its classification in a specified zone. Now, my working definition of an unnecessary hardship is as follows. The property cannot be put to any reasonable use under its current zoning classification. It must be a unique and peculiar difficulty relating to the property of a serious and significant nature. It must relate to the property and not any personal issues. This includes economic, financial gain, or loss. A variance must not be granted where the property owner merely suffers a financial loss of a kind that is common to all of the property owners in the area. Circumstances that are not hardships, self-inflicted or self-created, inconvenient or personal. Now, the Zoning Board of Adjustment, by virtue of law, state law, and of the City of Tuscaloosa ordinances, does not have jurisdiction or authority to consider, interpret, and or enforce any term or condition of subdivision covenants and or homeowner association rules or regulations. These matters are therefore not relevant areas of inquiry by the board on any petition. Such covenants or regulations are between the private parties involved and not the ZBA. That having been said, any decision made by the ZBA on any particular case does not necessarily preclude the enforcement of such subdivision covenants and or HOA rules or regulations by other lawful means. Now, this is a public hearing. It is being recorded, videotaped, and is streaming live on the city's website, Facebook, as well as local cable TV. Proper decorum, civility, and respect for others is required at all times. There were sign-up sheets outside for public comment. Up to 4 speakers will be given the opportunity to speak in favor of a petition, and up to 4 speakers will be given the opportunity to speak in opposition to a petition. All speakers will have up to 5 minutes unless the board votes to allow a longer time. When you are at the podium, please speak directly into the microphone and state your name and address for the record. All comments should be directed to the board. No comments are to be directed to city staff. I would like to ask city staff to confirm for the record that all appropriate and required public and individual property owner notices for each case upon the docket for petition now before the board have been made in accordance with the law.
Yes, it has.
Okay. This hearing is an opportunity for the petitioner to present their case, for the public to inquire and make their views known about the petition, and for the board members to gather relevant facts before making its decision. City staff will introduce the petition and present facts and information to the board concerning the same. The petitioner or petitioner's designated representative will be asked to make comments and answer questions from the board. The petitioner will have up to 10 minutes unless the board votes to allow a longer time. The 4 members of the public that are in support of the petition and the 4 members of the public that are in opposition to the petition who signed up to speak will then be afforded the opportunity to make inquiries and comments. Now, petition response. At the close of the public comments, the petitioner will be asked to respond to comments if necessary. Any rebuttal will be allowed up to 2 minutes unless the board votes to allow a longer time. The chair may then permit the public to respond, but only to any new issues raised by the petitioner in rebuttal. Any response will be allowed up to 2 minutes unless the board votes to allow a longer time. At the close of public comment, or once the board is satisfied that it has received all relevant information on a petition, the chairman will close further comment or discussion, and the board then will discuss the matter. The chair will read into the record the motion to approve the request along with any conditions set by the board, and the board members will commence voting. 4 votes are required to approve any petition, not a simple majority of the board. I repeat, it takes 4 votes are required to approve any petition. Please leave yard signs in your yard. Staff will pick up the signs as soon as possible. Any party that's aggrieved by our final judgment or decision of the board zoning adjustment may within 15 days thereafter appeal therefrom to the circuit court by filing with such board a written notice of appeal specifying the judgment or decision from which the appeal is taken. The board members have had a chance to review tonight's agenda items. Do any of the members have a conflict of interest with any of the cases on tonight's agenda?
I have a conflict on ZBA 0425.
Okay, at that time, Mr. Hamner will step out and then we will hear the case and then he'll return. Following the cases on the agenda have been continued or withdrawn. Any continuance or withdrawn?
Not at this time.
Okay. And Ms. King, do we have any pending statuses that we need to update?
No, there's still just the one case pending, and there are no updates in that at this time.
Okay. All right, we will begin our presentation.
Good afternoon, Board. So we will start with 2 cases requesting to withdraw. That is ZBA 12024 and ZBA 12124. Ms. Modley has reached out to us. She cannot be here tonight, but does want to request both cases to be withdrawn. So we will need a vote for each petition to be withdrawn tonight.
Okay, so I need a motion.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, we'll start voting. Mr. Eatman?
Yes. Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Motion approved.
All right, and we'll move to our cases to be heard. So beginning with ZBA 125, Control Climate Heating and Cooling LLC petition for a variance from the sign regulations. This is on the property at 1805 Queen City Avenue, zoned NC, Council District 2. Here we have the zoning of the property as well as the aerial view. This is a view of the sign in question. I'm going to go back just a page. So this is the parcel in question. It's in relation, let me change the color, to the business located here. You can see these two are separated by a public alley, but they are owned, both parcels are owned by Control Climate Heating and Cooling. We are looking at the billboard regulations for our applicable regulations. So by definition, this sign is an off-site sign, so it meets the definition of a billboard. As you can see in that second section, the limitation on the number of billboards has been capped. So the petitioner is requesting a variance to keep a recently installed sign. According to the petitioner, this sign was installed to guide delivery drivers as well as customers to the correct location. Their workshop is located behind that vacant lot as we just looked at, and the petitioner claims that this sign helps direct traffic to the appropriate location. Before they place the sign out front, people would stop and disturb the adjacent neighbors when asking for directions. So again, here we have the sign. You can see the arrow points back to where the warehouse is actually located. This is a view from Google Maps just showing what it previously looked like without a sign, just to show you the difference. We did receive some comments from our fire marshal's office that they would actually require some sort of directional sign to point customers and also fire and emergency services to the correct location. So again, here we have it without the sign, and then this is the sign that they are ultimately proposing to keep. We did not receive any public comment for this request. Do you have any questions for staff?
Any questions for staff? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Control Climate Heating and Cooling, your representative.
Hey, how y'all doing?
All right. State your name and address.
Davey Bishop, 1717 18th Place, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, 35401.
Okay. State your case.
Ma'am.
You can just tell us what you want us to do for you.
So the sign we kind of use for information. We have a lot of deliveries as far as HVAC equipment, customers coming to pay payment, and the address for whatever reason stops them out front on Queen City. And so we kind of put that sign there directing the traffic to the back to show them where we're located at.
How long have you been at this location?
Since 2022.
Any questions?
Shortly after I was there. Yes, sir.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. So no one signed up on the petition to speak for or against. Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to speak for or against this petition? At this time, we'll close public comment and go to board comment. Mr. Eatman?
I mean, I've actually been to the location before, and it is hard to see. The address does, I can confirm it does stop on Queen City. So I definitely see the need for the sign, so I'm going to be in favor of keeping the sign.
There's several other businesses, pest control businesses and houses that are on Queen City with clear signage on the building. Since their building is not on there, there's no way to really know where they are. It's been up over a year, and the fire marshal would like to have a direction, so I'm supportive of that.
Yeah, I'm in agreement as well. I mean, based off of the location the building is, from the piece of property to the Queen City, I definitely see the necessity and the hardship of needing a sign, especially with the alleyway splitting the property. So I'm definitely in favor.
I agree as well. I would like to see the stipulation that this sign be only this size, like they wouldn't be able to go up or put a, would we be able to put that stipulation that they couldn't, or do we need to put that?
Yeah, I think we'd recommend the freestanding sign regulations, that they'd adhere to those.
Adhere to the freestanding sign regulations, okay? So we'll put that in the motion,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? All right.
Yes, I agree with my other board members. I do see the hardship based off of the layout of the lot and with the recommendation of the fire marshal.
Okay. At this time, we'll close board comment. I'll read the motion. ZBA-01-25, Control Climate Heating and Cooling LLC petitions for a variance from the sign regulations on the property located at 1805 Queen City Avenue, Zone NC, Council District 2, with adherence to freestanding sign regulations. Voting with Mr. Eatman?
Yes.
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 Petition approved.
Next case is ZBA 225, Eulia Domingo petitions for a special exception to operate a light vehicle repair store on the property at 2100 Veterans Memorial Parkway. This property is Zone GC, Council District 5. So here we have the zoning of the property as well as that aerial view. This is just an image of the building on site. The applicable regulations, so these are a part of our new regulations for the updated zoning code. This is section 25101. So a light vehicle repair store has to meet all of these criteria that's outlined before you. The applicant has stated that it will meet or address those items in their application. So the request is for a special exception to operate a new and used tire shop. According to the petitioner, this building previously at some point was used as a car wash. They plan to use the building as a tire shop where they will sell, mount, and balance new and used tires. They will not perform any mechanical work and will consist of 2 employees. They have stated that all tires will be stored inside the building, and then you can see their hours of operations from Monday to Saturday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Here we just have a couple of images showing you around the site, close-up image of those bay doors, and then the fence that's located in the back of the property. We did receive 2 public comments in opposition to this request. Do y'all have any questions for staff?
So if we approve it with, go back to the light mechanic, would they be able to do light mechanic work if they decided to? Like,
So
if we give
they-
them a special exception?
So the tire shop fits within the light vehicle repair definition. If they were to change uses at all, if it were going to a mechanical.
Or start doing
repair-
oil changes?
Right, if they were changing their use, they would have to come back before you to get another special exception.
Okay, so if we approve it, it's gonna be just for the tire?
That's correct. That's just under the parameters that they've laid out in their application.
Any other questions for the city? Thank you.
Thanks.
Ms. Domingo? Mr. Domingo?
It appears the applicants are not present tonight.
Okay, so do we need to continue it? Do you want to move it to the end to see if they come in?
That, we've done that in the past, yeah, I think that'd be good.
we need a motion
They
to
did
do-
mention that they would be here tonight, so.
Do we need a motion to do that, or we can just,
There are people getting off the elevator right now.
Someone might be just coming out of the elevator right now.
I think that's
There we
them.
go.
are you Ms. Domingo? Yes. We're waiting on you. Come on down. Just come on up. The city has shared with us what you want to do, so if you would give us your name and your address where you live, and then tell us what you want to do here at this.
Okay, I'm sorry, did you say you want me to tell you my address and my name?
Your name
Okay.
and your address.
Okay, so my full name is Eulalia Bartolome, 6650 Flatwoods Road, Northport. And for the building that we have right there, before I came here to City Hall.
Can you
to-
speak up? Can you lean a little more in the
Yes,
mic?
so when I purchased that building right there, I came here to speak with planning and zoning to ask if it could be allowed for a tire shop, a new and used tire shop, which is, they said yes, and fire department came out there and they said everything was okay. And then after that, somebody called me saying that I have to come to a meeting, that restriction is, I don't know, so that's why I'm here today.
And so they were telling you have to come and get a special exception to be able to do light mechanic work, what you're wanting to do?
Yes.
And so that's why they were coming. So with the tire shop, the concern is where are the tires going to be stored?
Inside.
So where are you going to do the work?
I'm thinking to do one storage that you see the two roll up that can open. I can have them. One of them can be inside, like pull cars in, or like pull in under that roof that's out right there. And that's
So
the plan that we have.
Are you just looking to do like one car at a time? So if I understand you right, you're gonna put tires in one of the bays, correct?
I used to have one in 15th Street on West End. We pull the cars inside, so one at a time. Depends how business is. Where I was at on the West End, it was kind of like slow, so one at a time, car goes in and out like that.
But you do understand no tires can be stored outside. So you'll
Yes,
have to
yes.
utilize one of your bays.
I'm sorry?
You'd have to utilize one of these bays right here.
Yes.
And so you'll just have one bay, and you're talking about also doing tire work up under the pavilion or canopy?
No mechanical, just like tires, sell tires and install tires.
But will you do it outside under this little canopy area, the outside in front of the building?
Can you circle that?
Circle that, mister. Would you do tire changing there?
No, I mean, the car will be jacked up and the machines will be inside the building. So they would have to take the tires inside, dismount it, and then mount it and balance, bring it back, and then put it back in the car.
But you would take the tires off up under this little,
Yeah, like take it off, take the tire off. And then in order for them to change the tire, they would have to take all the rims from inside the building And then once the tire's replaced, it's new, they bring back and install it back in the car.
So I think that's the issue that we're having, that we're not wanting you to be able to do that outside under that little awning, that it would all have to be done inside the building.
Okay,
It's like doing mechanic work out here. Because of this area, the businesses that are around in this area, that means you would be doing the mechanic work outside. And so, no outdoor storage of the tires. Maneuvering vehicles shall be permanently surfaced.
I mean, if I'm not allowed to do that, then I can have the 2 rolls open up, and that's all I can do.
You see A where it says all hydraulic hoses, pits, and lubrication grease, all that has to be enclosed within the building. And then no dismantled vehicles shall be stored outside.
Okay,
So you would have to do your work inside those 2 bays,
yes, yeah.
which then brings the question of where the tire's gonna be stored.
Oh, so I have a plan. So I'm not gonna keep all the tires right there. Like, I mean, we have like what we do, we rent other storages, then we keep only one, like especially when we have new tires, we only keep 1 new of each tire. So when the customer comes in, we offer them what size we have, then we go get it in the storage.
Okay, so you have off-site storage location for your tires.
Yes,
When the customer comes in and looks at the car and you know what tires they are needing,
yes.
you'll go get them from the off-site, bring them over there and do the work inside.
Yeah, I mean, once, because we have like more than 1 people there. Once it's start working to one car and the other guy goes to get the tires in the storage, so that's what we do.
And then in terms of cars being parked, no more than cars sitting outside, like having cars parked on the premises just overnight, will y'all be keeping any cars overnight or anything?
No,
So at the end of the day, it'll be just clear and all the cars will be gone.
correct.
Any other questions?
So I have a question for the city. So in the regulations, does it say that no work can be done outside of the building? Does it all have to be inside? And the reason I'm asking, I know when we have these tire shops come up, I've seen some where they actually do the work outside. And the main thing is just housing of the tires inside when the business is closed. So is there anything that says all the work has to be done inside in our regulation?
So, I think the intent is for the work to be done inside the building.
Well, the way I read this, it says, and repair equipment shall be entirely enclosed within a building. So if all the equipment is in the building, then how are you doing it? Take the work inside. And then it says no dissent.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, so the way that they've been operating in the past might not be similar to this because they haven't had to meet this regulation in the past.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Domingo.
All right, thank you.
So we don't have anyone signed up on the petition to speak for or against. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this petition? At this time, we'll close public comment and begin board comment with Mr. Eatman.
I mean, I think location-wise, I think it's the building is kind of built for that type business, so I don't see an issue with it, so I'm gonna be in favor.
In reading some of the 2 opposition comments, one was they wanted all the tires inside and they didn't want any work outside. So that's been committed to here. I don't even think we have to put an extra stipulation on it because it meets the code, so I'll be supportive.
As long as the petitioner understands, the code, I'm in favor. There's always been some type of automobile business in this location, so I'm going to be in favor.
I agree with my fellow board members, but I do want to make sure that they adhere to keeping the tires inside and keeping the area neat because it is a highly populated area with apartments, homes, condominiums across the street, and school. It's a really nice area, so we want to make sure we keep the integrity of the area, the culture. So I'm in favor.
I agree with my fellow board members, I'm in favor.
Okay, we'll close board comment. I'll read the petition. ZBA-02-25 Eula Domingo petitions for a special exception to operate a light vehicle repair store on the property located at 2100 Veterans Memorial Parkway, Zone GC, Council District 5. Voting with Mr. Eatman.
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
petition approved.
All right, we'll move into our short-term rental requests, ZBA 325. Russell Fredericks petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 135 22nd Street North, Zone GPD, Council District 3. Here we have the aerial view of the property as well as the zoning. This is a view of the surrounding short-term rentals in the general area. And then here we have a view of that house as well as the parking area, which is directly in front of the building. So the petitioner is requesting a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a dwelling. Tanner Ashcraft will be the primary contact and will be available 24 hours a day in case of an emergency. This property manager has experience with multiple short-term rentals in our area. The house is equipped with a Ring doorbell, sound monitoring system, and digital lock system. The house is not owner-occupied, and it will be used by the property owner when it's not being rented short-term. The house is 3 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms. The petitioner requests 4 adults and 2 vehicles. If approved, staff recommends 4 adults and 2 vehicles. We did receive 8 emails in opposition and then a petition with 24 signatures against this request prior to the meeting. And we do have the petitioner here in person. Do you have any questions for staff? Thanks.
All right. Russell Fredericks.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Robin Hills. I'm Russell's wife.
Okay. And give us your address.
135 22nd Street North, Tuscaloosa.
And you're who to him?
I'm his wife.
Okay, all right, no problem. Tell us what you plan to do.
So our son is a freshman at the University of Alabama, and we have been here since he started attending in September, and we fell in love with the area, and we wanted to make it a second home because we came to most of the home games, and it started to not make sense to be in a hotel. So we decided to purchase the property, and then we thought in the off time when we weren't there that maybe we could rent it maybe to a traveling nurse or something like that. Not to be anything but for our use, and then maybe some family, friends, and then maybe a short-term rental. That's why we decided to work with Tanner.
Any questions? And Tanner, you're going to do the usual, and just kind of run through it for our newer board members that may not know.
Yeah, so it'll be like our other properties. Do I need to say my name and address? Tanner Ashcraft, 903 Heritage Drive. So yeah, I mean, it listed, we'll have, of course, exterior cameras on the doors, our smart locks, the noise monitoring system that registers the decibel level of the noise, amongst other things like cigarette smoke and all that. So yeah, you know, they use it as a second home, so when they're not here, you know, we obviously know if approved, we'll be limited to the number of days it can be rented on a short-term basis. So that's what we'll do. If they don't plan to come for a month or two, we'll entertain the idea of maybe a traveling nurse or something like that. We've had some success, and we think with the proximity of the 2 hospitals in town, this property, you know, could do pretty well with that. So, do you have any questions for me? It does, yes. So, you know, it's tough with the cameras to, you know, Ring cameras on your personal house. You can set it to every time a person walks by, you know, it dings. Well, we manage so many now, my phone never stops dinging. But the noise monitoring system is really what we lean on because we set those parameters to where it makes sense, and especially in a property, a condo or townhome or something, we'll be more strict on that. So anytime the noise gets over that threshold, and of course, that threshold's lower in quiet hours, a little bit higher during the day, but still, we don't want parties at these properties. She owns the property and they spend a lot of money on it. So we don't want parties any more than anybody else. And we're really upfront before our guests ever book, right after they book, that, hey, if that's your plan, you need to go somewhere else, because we keep as close of an eye on it as we possibly can, because our business depends on it. Absolutely, yes. That's right. Yeah, we have them sign an agreement right at confirmation, and checking IDs to verify the guest. I apologize, I didn't have a mic on. The question was, do you make them sign an agreement that says they won't have parties, that they will follow certain rules about quiet time?
If you could speak up, Tanner.
And so.
Pull
so
that
you can't hear-
microphone.
Okay. Sorry, Tanner.
Yes.
So repeat what you told me.
We make them sign an agreement, yes, agreeing to our house rules, reiterating that parties are not allowed. Only approved guests are allowed. A lot of times, it might be parents of college students renting this. So, maybe their son or daughter is coming over for dinner, or, whatever else, and that's fine. But we try to verify every guest that's coming, just because we need to know who's on the property at all times.
Tanner, how many properties are you managing at this time?
36, 35, 36, right around that. We've got the reason it's kind of, I've got her and a couple more that are signed up, not live yet. So it's in the 30s.
City, have we had any issues with any of Tanner's properties?
We have not.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we have 2 signed up to speak in opposition. Marita Howell. You can come forward and state your name and your address for us.
I'm sorry, I did not hear a word they said, so I don't know where we are. My name is Marita Howell, M-A-R-I-D-A. I reside at 206 22nd Street North. I am an original owner and have lived there for 50 years. I bought in Fox Run as a young person with 2 children, as I thought it would be a safe area for us in a family-oriented neighborhood. Fox Run was constructed under the planned unit development concept, where each unit is individually owned. An association was created to manage all common land, established as a nonprofit organization. Owners share the cost of maintaining the area by a monthly maintenance fee to cover the property. This includes water and garbage, which is shared, one bill, lawn service, insurance, exterior of buildings, including roofing, and shared party walls. We have a declaration of covenants, conditions, and restrictions, which were originally drafted by Bob Morrow Construction in 1974. Our articles of incorporation and bylaws were drafted for the purpose of governing the association. These are registered in the office of the probate judge in Tuscaloosa County. Any amendments and additions are also registered. Fox One was constructed as single-family residential dwellings for family use and meant to be a community neighborhood. I do not believe a short-term rental would be beneficial to our neighborhood. Possible problems, again, are shared party walls, noise factors, housekeeping problems, limited parking, and possible insurance problems. I request the petition for short-term rentals be denied. Many homeowners have emailed or signed a petition against this proposal, and we hope to continue our family neighborhood. Some of the board members have come with me, and I'd like to thank them and those that helped do all of these petitions. A couple things that we're concerned about that, again, I couldn't hear what was said, but we have garbage pickup on Wednesday. You can't leave your garbage can, out all week long. And it is a city ordinance that garbage must be put up the next day, afterwards. So that's a concern, It is in close proximity, a lot of older people live there. And I'm just concerned that it's going to interfere with our way of life with people in and out on a continual basis. Thank you.
Thank you. This looks like Barbara, maybe Kachowski, Barbara Kachowski? Kacharski. Please come up, state your name and your address for us. Okay.
My name is Barbara Kucharski, Kucharski, and I owned 156 Fox Run at 22nd Avenue North, but I live at 1513 River Road Drive, Tuscaloosa, 35406. And I'm here to speak in opposition to short-term rentals in Fox Run. And I wanted to point out that I was doing some research on it, and Taylor Shelton is a Mississippi State geoscience professor who studies what he calls the game day rental phenomenon. And he found that as game day rentals go up, that affordable housing goes down. And Tuscaloosa, then in 2019, Tuscaloosa's planning director was Ashley Kreitz, who is now the executive director of urban development. She was quoted as saying, "The rise in occasional use properties is suppressing the availability of affordable housing." In 2019, 19% of housing was secondary homes and game day rentals and retreats for Crimson Tide fans. And I'm sure in 2025, that's up significantly. But also in an online article in Backyard, Next City on Housing Equity, titled "Game Day Homes Raising Cost in Small Southern Towns," Adina Solomon reported that out-of-town football fans are buying up properties for short-term rentals, specifically for football season. And Tuscaloosa was mentioned in the article. The charm and the integrity of a neighborhood is lost when short-term residences sit empty or have an open door policy in and out for most of the year. They contribute nothing to the quality of life of the people that choose to make those neighborhoods their permanent residences. Some of the other concerns that were addressed in the articles were also the concerns expressed by the residents at Fox Run: noise, trash, parking, and safety. Most apartments in Tuscaloosa, honestly, are not being built for resident families. They're for students and for game day rentals. Fox Run has always been a haven for renters in Tuscaloosa who are looking for a home. It is an affordable, safe, and nice place for families, widows, widowers, divorcees and their children, single women, and older residents. It sits in the middle of some of the nicest neighborhoods in Tuscaloosa. And Fox Run residents look out for their neighbors. Game day renters or short-term renters are not neighbors. Fox Run is a home to its residents, not a hotel. And many of the residents and the renters, like she has been there 50 years, and a lot of the people that rent there have been there 15 plus years. The property, and I think you got a handout for this, the property in question shares a common roof, a common foundation, a common front yard, and common interior walls with other units. Based on the close proximity of these residences, it would make sense to get approval from the adjoining residents that would be subjected to the raised noise levels, the parking issues, and total strangers coming and going at all hours of the night. I want to applaud Tuscaloosa for having restrictive policies for short-term rentals and not allowing them in all zoning districts. And I respectfully request that short-term rentals not be allowed in Fox Run. Thanks.
Thank you. Now, that's everyone that's signed up. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak for or against? Yes, ma'am. Come on.
Hi, my name is Kit Kendrick. I'm at 125 22nd Street North, Tuscaloosa.
Are you speaking for or against?
Pardon me?
Are you speaking for or against?
Oh, I'm in opposition of it. So I'm speaking in opposition out of a safety concern. I'm a single mom with a 9-year-old child, and I'm just a few doors down from this home. And my daughter skates on the sidewalk right in front of this house constantly, rides her bike, we play. In the back, it showed a while ago, if you can show the back of the house, there's a green space, and there's a cut through to Riverdale, and my daughter plays with all the children right back in all that green space, and my house is just a few doors from it. And they play back there, and my daughter, we're very vigilant about what cars belong there in the neighborhood. She knows about stranger danger, and short-term rental is bringing strangers constantly, and we don't know what kind of intentions they have. I mean, we're talking game day. They're selling alcohol now at the stadium. There's drinking and driving coming out of the neighborhood. I'm just a concerned mom with a young child who's playing out there a lot, and I just want to voice my opposition to let that be something that you consider. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak for or against this petition? Sir, did you want to? Okay. All right. At this time, we'll close public comment and we'll begin with board comment. Mr. Eatman?
Do we want to give Tanner opportunity to respond?
Tanner, would you like to respond to any of these comments?
Tanner, one of the opposition folks could not hear what you said about your rules and regulations and sound, so if you could really get close and make that clear.
Kind of repeat what yeah. Okay, Tanner Ashcraft, 903 Heritage Drive. So yeah, like I was saying, we will, on all of our properties, we have Ring cameras on the exterior doors to always have a track and verify who is entering the home. We have noise monitors that monitor the decimal level of the noise. So if it ever goes above the threshold we have in place, I'm the first one to know, and we can jump on it right quick. That our guests are aware of all these parameters we have in place, along with our verbiage and our discussion before they book, right at confirmation. I mean, we have reminders of this because we want to avoid it as much as the neighbors don't want it in there. So it's really proven a good tactic to help, I guess, in defense of parties. Our vast majority of our guests, I mean, the vast majority are parents of college students at the university. So they're here to come see their kids, you know, and football seasons are big dates, but there's parents' weekends all through the spring. There's graduations, of course. So, you know, typically our guests are there, you know, not to throw huge parties and all this. They're there simply to have a nice place to stay. A lot of them, they're staying there versus a hotel because they want a kitchen. Maybe they're here for Thanksgiving for their, you know, to cook a home cooked meal for their college student that hasn't had one. I'm trying to think what else was the.
Tanner, do you usually rent all 30 days? If you have somebody with you, the 30 days or 45 days that they have in short term, do y'all use all of those, all that time?
Depends on the property. And it depends on the owners, you know, what their goals are in their property. Some owners use it more. I know they're planning on using it a good bit. And some owners don't use it quite as much and, you know, and would rather. But that limited number of days, what it does is if you're limited to the number of days like we are, we have to keep the price at a point where it makes sense. You know, if you're only got a certain amount of days to rent and you're trying to drive a good return for the owner, well, you better get good money because you don't want to waste it on. So, and when you go too low, you could attract, you know, difficult guests at times. So, you know, that's a line we try to, you know, to balance. And like I said earlier, the last person that wants to party at any of these places is me. I've got a lot riding on all this, and I mean, it's our livelihood. I treat it very serious, and
you know, I understand concerns, and I've heard them, and I respect them. You know, but I guess all I can say is we do the best we can, and we've had a good history of success with it.
Tanner, two of the issues I heard was garbage pickup being on Wednesday, and also parking. Can you address those two?
Yeah, so when I started doing this, you know, we just had 1 or 2 units. I've done every job in this management business and continue to do it, you know, every day. But I have help, you know, now. So I've got guys that pick up trash carts every day. I've got them in Northport and Tuscaloosa now, and they're on different schedules. So literally every day, we've got Monday pickups, Tuesday, a lot of Wednesdays, and we've got some waste management ones in the counties that are on different days. So, you know, our friendly neighbors, especially in the historic districts, they will remind us if that cart's not back, you know, in a certain amount of time. So that's obviously one of the tasks that our runners are tasked with every week. So that's an easy task. And yes, it can look, or it's easy to forget, I guess, but no, I've got guys that they do
That's
that
their
every
job.
single week. Yes, that's right. If the property's rented, if there's garbage in that cart, it's gonna be on the street, and it's gonna be pulled back by the next day at the latest.
Any other questions for Tanner? All right, thank you. Now we'll close public comment, go to board comment with Mr. Eatman.
I mean, there are other short-term rentals already in the neighborhood, so we can't really say there aren't any, because there's one, I think we just approved one right around the corner not too long ago. But it is a tough one, because I do understand, you know, I do agree with a lot of the comments that they've made, so I'm conflicted about this one. I want to hear what the rest of my board members have to say about this one.
Can we get a microphone? I can't hear. There's a microphone.
Hey, John,
Can you help us?
can I see?
I think the best thing to do is just to really speak into your mic when you talk.
Sorry to interrupt.
I think with 20-foot ceilings, there's a lot of echo, and it's really hard to hear even with a microphone at that. So I'll be slow with my words and try to enunciate. I think Tanner does a good job with his rentals, and the fact that you've got noise detection, ring cameras, you can keep up with it, and the fact that the current owner is going to all the football games. So my understanding is she's visiting during the football games. This is for, you're talking about travel nurses that need 2 or 3, maybe a week at the most. But the max is 30 days, is this correct? In a year. So it's really weekends that you're talking about, a basketball game, a graduation, or something of that nature. So my only drawback, and I don't know if it's in the rules of short-term rental, is the common wall. So you've got almost like a townhome with people like an apartment where they're just right next to each other. If you have an apartment or condo that you own, you know that you're gonna have people doing that. And we do have condos that are short-term rental. But in a townhome that's more in a neighborhood, I think it is a bigger concern to have different people just knocking on your wall. So I'm like Mr. Eatman, I'm a little conflicted about it because we do approve these in a lot of neighborhoods where you really don't want them. But the homeowner themselves, I believe, has spent a great deal of money upgrading and redoing it. So I'm conflicted as well on this one.
No, I'll have to agree with my fellow board members, and Tanner, you know, does a good job. I don't think we've had any 311 calls or anything from the properties that he's managed. So you have someone there that cares, it seems, and really he's not up here just talking. He's actually standing behind what his product. It is his livelihood. You know, we did just approve one, I believe it was Academy Drive, maybe, short-term rental not too long ago. So there is another one in the area. I mean, I understand everybody's opposition, but at the same time, I mean, the owner of the property is going to be here. She seems. I mean, her son is a freshman, I believe I heard her say. So, you know, I'm leaning more toward approving.
For me, the city council has stated that you can have short-term rental all over the city now. Am I correct? So with that being said, everyone is pretty much taking advantage. Every neighborhood in the city is pretty much going to be touched by this opportunity. I like the fact that the owner of this property has some ties to Tuscaloosa, because we do see those that the owner doesn't even come here at all, they just own the property, so at least they're coming. And with them coming and staying in the townhouse, I'm sure they're going to want it to be nice, so they're not going to want to rent it to just anybody. We have confidence. We've seen Tanner come before us. That's why I asked him how many is he up to now. He was the first to introduce the noise system and how it worked and all the high-tech gadgets. You know, young people, they have all the high-tech stuff. And he was telling us that that's how they do it, and they monitor it, and they can tell, and it alerts them if the person gets too loud, and they know how many devices are there, so they know how many people are in the house. Like if it's only supposed to be 4 adults, they can tell how many devices and all this type of technology. So it's really high-tech what they do. Short-term rental is very heavily policed by the city. You can actually rent this property out to somebody, and you have no control over it then. It can be however many people they can get there. A family can move in with 7, 8 kids and whatever. So short-term rental is a little more regulated. You have more control. And to your benefit, if there is a problem, you contact 311 and you make a complaint. If they have complaints when it's time to renew, that is factored in whether they get to renew. Because this is the first year is probationary, 30 days probation. After that first year, we revisit, we see if they have any complaints, police being called out, 311 issues, and that's taken into consideration if we renew it. So this is probationary and it's temporary. So I don't see an issue with it. I don't think it's going to be as bad as you think it is. I have short-term rental in my home, in my neighborhood. I never know when it's rented. I never know when somebody's at that house. It's just, you just don't know, because the people don't, it's not like you think, it's not the party house that you think it's going to be. So I don't see any problem with it.
It seems as though there's 4 concerns that were brought by the neighborhood: noise, parking, trash, and safety. Of those 4, 3 of them have been addressed by Tanner. So the noise, you have the noise monitors. The parking, that's something that's already included with our requirements. So you're limited to 2 vehicles total. That's it. As far as the trash, that's been taken care of by Tanner as well. He has someone on staff that will make sure that the trash is pulled to the back. The part that we have no control over right now is the safety aspect. That's a concern that I have, and I've always had since day one, over short-term rentals. That is something that I would suggest that the community takes to the city council to add more teeth into the short-term rental, where there's a requirement having the property owner to keep IDs on file for an extended period of time or what have you. But that's something that's beyond our control as far as the safety aspect, but that's something that needs to be taken to the city council. With that being said, I'm in favor of the short-term rental.
Okay, at this time, we'll close board comment. I'll read the petition, ZBA-03-25, Russell Frederick's petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 135 22nd Street North, Zone GPD, Council District 3, with, was it 4 adults?
4 adults, 2 cars.
4 adults, 2 vehicles for 30 nights for 1 year probationary period. Voting with Mr. Eatman.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 Petition approved.
We'll take just a moment to allow Mr. Hamner to recuse himself.
So who's going to be the supernumerary? That's Marty? Okay.
All right, then we'll move on to ZBA 425, Brian Blocker, petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property.
Jonathan, can we clarify? Can you? Please, Mary Catherine Holt.
Gotcha, thank you. Located at 7 Brook Meadows Circle, zoned MR1, Council District 7. So here we have the zoning of the property as well as that aerial view. The surrounding short-term rentals, there are 4 others in this neighborhood. Here we have a view of the house showing the parking. So this request is for a short-term rental. Brian Blocker will be the primary contact and be available 24 hours a day. He does have experience managing one other short-term rental. This house is equipped with cameras, keypad locks, and inside noise monitors. It is not owner occupied and will be used by the property owner when it's not being rented short-term. House has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. The request is for 6 adults, 3 vehicles. If approved, staff recommends 6 adults and 3 vehicles. We did not receive any public comment for this request. Do you have any questions for staff?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Brian Blocker.
Good evening. Brian Blocker, live at 11435 Stella Way. That's my wife Lindsay, petition for 7 Brook Meadows Circle. We do, like you said, we'll have ring cameras, noise monitors, should be plenty of parking. We have one other property that I currently manage. Tanner managed it for me for a while, so I've learned everything he's got. He did a good job for us. Just moving on to doing our own. It primarily be just graduations and football seasons, occasional other days. Our other property we've used intermediately with midterm rentals with pretty good success and no issues.
Okay. Any questions for the Blockers? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We don't have anyone signed up to speak for or against. Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to speak for or against this petition? If not, we'll close public comment and start with board comment. Mr. Eatman?
I don't have any issue, no opposition, good location, so I don't have any issue.
I have no issue either. There's others right there have been approved, so I'm good.
I agree with my fellow board members. I don't have an issue with it.
I have no issues. I'm in favor.
I'm in favor of the special exception.
Okay, at this time, we'll close board comment. I'll read the petition. ZBA-04-25, Brian Blocker petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 7 Brook Meadows Circle, Zone MR-1, Council District 7, voting 6 adults, 3 vehicles, 30 nights for 1-year probation. Voting with Mr. Eatman?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Petition approved.
We'll give Mr. Hammer just a moment to make his way back in. All right, we'll go ahead and move forward. So this is our last case of the night, ZBA 525, Amanda Anderson petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property at 1020 Wakefield Drive. This property is zoned SFR 1, Council District 2. Here we have the location and zoning of that property. There are no surrounding short-term rentals in the general area. And then here we have an image of the house as well as the parking area. So we have a request for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a dwelling. Amanda Anderson and Kelvin Robertson will be the primary contacts and backup contacts. Amanda will be located outside of Birmingham. Kelvin Robertson will be located approximately 20 minutes away from the property and will both be available in case of an emergency. The petitioner has experience with long-term rentals. However, they do not have experience with short-term rentals. The house is equipped with a security monitoring system and an electronic keypad. It is not owner-occupied, and the house will remain vacant when it's not being rented short-term. It is 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. They are requesting 6 adults and 4 vehicles. If approved, staff recommends 6 adults and 3 vehicles. We did not receive any public comment for this request. Do you have questions for staff?
No questions. Thank you. Amanda Anderson?
My name is Kelvin Robertson, and I'm speaking on behalf of Amanda Anderson, 7987 Everett's Loop, McCalla, Alabama, 35111. So the goal for the property is it's a long-term investment, and we want it to be, of course, a short-term rental. We completed renovations on the property to make it appealing for the community. we're looking to do mainly weekend rentals. If we can get a travel nurse in, we'll do that. We probably won't exceed 30-day rental. And so we will be adding the noise control as well, because I thought that was a great idea. And that's pretty much it.
Any questions for Mr. Reynolds?
Mr. Reynolds, I know you mentioned that you reside in McCullough.
Yes.
And the house is not owner occupied?
No.
So it'd be vacant. Do you have a local representative?
I'm sorry.
Do you have a local representative?
So, I have Mr. Jerome, and I actually work in Northport, so I'm here every day as well.
And the reason I'm asking is because if it's being rented and you're in McCullough, and something comes up as far as emergency, there would need to be a local person that can get to the house in a decent amount of time.
Yes.
If the police are called out and something has to.
So I can be here within 30 minutes, and I'm also, Mr. Jerome lives next door, so we're in contact all the time about the property.
So he could be called on to go and handle something for you?
Yes.
Okay, great.
And do you have any other short-term rentals or investment properties in Tuscaloosa, Northport, or McCollum?
We have a long-term in Northport, but that's it, in the Tuscaloosa area.
Can you make sure city staff has his information as well? That way if something happens and you can't get there, they can call him. So
Yes.
I would like to make sure that the neighbor's information is on file as well.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
We don't have anybody, we have two signed up to speak in favor of this. Would you all like to come up and speak at this time?
No reason to speak, we just signed it as a matter of record that we support.
All right, thank you.
We belong and represent the HOA in Marshall.
Okay. So we'll close public comment. At this time, we'll go to board comment. Mr. Eatman?
Yeah, I don't see an issue. I'm gonna be in favor.
I'll be in favor as well.
I'm in favor with a staff recommendation of 6-3.
I agree, and it helps that the neighbor is a part of it and wants to be involved, so that really goes well.
I agree, I'm in favor as well.
At this time, we'll close board comment. I'll read the petition. ZBA-05-25, Amanda Anderson petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 1020 Wakefield Drive, Zone SFR-1, Council District 2. 6 adults, 3 vehicles, 30 nights for 1 year probation. Voting with Mr. Eatman.
Yes.
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 Petition approved. We stand adjourned.